Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I'd like to show you how I made this card today. It's probably the last in my series of Christmas cards for this year. I want to get back to the new upcoming catalog and the new products that will be out, and back to something other than Christmas cards. And so I'm changing up a few things on this, but not a whole lot, and I'm just going to show you a bunch of options. So to make this card, we need a card base. Let me grab my card base here. 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then we need a piece of Very Vanilla, 4 1/4 by 5 3/8. Then we need a piece of DSP here. I think this is the one, yeah, that is cut 3.5 by 3, and those are both very generous cuts. So 3.5 and a smidge, 3 and a smidge, just so that it gets to be, it's not a full even 32nd or a 16th figure, just a generous cut. And so we need that piece, and I'm using this pretty gold trim ribbon, metallic edge ribbon, in the Very Vanilla and the gold. I'm using the sequins from the Metallic Sequin Assortment because it has copper sequins in it. And then I took a few sequins off of our mini, what's this called? Mini sequin trim. And so I just peeled a few sequins off there, so I had some of the gold as well. So let's just get started. What I did on this one is I used the Petal Burst embossing folder. And on this one, you can see down here, it's kind of messy because I embossed going one direction, then embossed going the other, because I was just trying to emboss the edges. Originally, I thought I might like to have a panel that was recessed that showed that it was embossed only on those ends, and I may do something with that and some other designer series paper. But because this had an edge on it and this piece was big enough, I decided to cover the line across here, this line, with the ribbon. And this one, I embossed it such that the first embossing run I did, I put my paper in this way so that it would emboss only the edge, and then I put my paper in this way so that it only embossed right up to the edge. And I found that easier to do with a continuous pattern like this than some of the other embossing folders. And I was just playing around, so I tried some other embossing folders, and what I ended up doing is just embossing the whole thing, just because most of it would be covered up by this and give you the same effect of just being able to see these two corners. So I used this quilted, I'll put the name up on the screen, embossing folder that has this quilt design. I used the trellis embossing folder, and I used the holly embossing folder along with the Petal Burst, because I wanted to see what it looked like if we put a card together using those different elements. So, and then you can tell me which one you like the best. So I'm just going to set this up. I've already folded and burnished my card base here. So the next thing I would do is put my ribbon around the bottom. So what I thought I would do is just dry fit this and see which of these alternatives I liked best. Let me just cut off a little piece of ribbon here so we can test and see which of those folders. So that's what it looks like. This is what it looks like with the Petal Burst. This one is set up to work with the holly folder. That makes it a little bit more Christmas looking. Let's see. This one was the quilted pattern. That is way too busy. I don't like that at all. And I imagine I'm going to feel the same way about this. Yes, way, way too busy. Oh well, that's the nature of experiments. Try some things and see what you like and what you don't like. The two I like best are the holly pattern and the petal burst, and frankly, I like my original design the best. I like the petal burst, and I think that is because the pattern has these ovals in it, and this pattern in the paper is more oval than it is anything else, and so I think it complements the best. So that's what I'm going to use. All right, so what I need to do is put some glue on the back side of my ribbon, and I'm just going to get some snail here and lay some snail down on my ribbon, and then put it right about here, all the way across, and then anchor it behind. And again, this is a very fast card because we're letting the ribbon and the DSP do all of the heavy lifting. Then we have our piece of designer series paper, which I am going to put in place right here. And again, I'm just going to put that down with a little bit of snail. And I don't know if there's a right side up, but that feels more right side up to me. And I'm going to butt it up against this edge of the card and center it top to bottom on the remaining panel and the ribbon. Okay, there we go. Now this piece is ready to mount on my card base, and again, I just laid that flat. Put a little bit of snail on that ribbon to help hold it down. Okay, and this will have a very tiny border all the way around the card. And then I tied a bow to go on my corner here out of this beautiful metallic edged ribbon. I had overlooked this in the catalog, and gosh, it's pretty. I finally got some, and I'm just wondering how it is it got away from me that I didn't have some and use it more often. So, and I think this is in the main catalog, so we'll have it at least through June. There's wonderful sales going on at Stampin' Up! Now with, you know, a month to go until the holiday catalog is done. There is a carryover list and a retiring list, and a lot of things are on discount right now, so it's a good time. This is a good stash builder time at Stampin' Up! To be looking at what you need in your stash. Oh dear, that's a horrible job of cutting. Let me try that again. There we go. Now I need to trim the other side. There's a rule about that. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to attach this ribbon with a few glue dots, and what I do on the back of my ribbons, glue dots, is I put one glue dot right on the knot, and then I put one glue dot that catches both the ribbon and the loop, one on each side. And so 3 glue dots and one that catches on the sides here, both the loop and the tail, so that when I put this ribbon down here, it sticks down perfectly and that isn't going anywhere. Okay, so what I did on the label here for my sentiment, so I took this everyday label punch wonder if I should do my stamping first. Maybe I should do my stamping first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is use my embossing buddy here, and I am using Crumb Cake ink and clear embossing powder, and the stamp I'm using says Merry and Bright, and it is from the stamp set that is Hearts Come Home. Okay, so the stamp is from Merry and Bright from the Hearts Come Home, and it just fits on this the way I want to put this together, and I'll show you here. So what I did was I have my clear embossing powder here, and I'm going to get that ready. This is a technique I've shown before that allows you to, if you can see on here, that brown, which I thought matched better even than the gold on here, has been embossed. And I think you can see that if I turn it in the light. And so what you do is ink up your stamp really good, stamp your image, and then just as quickly as you can, when you take that off, you slide it in the clear embossing powder. And you see how it looks almost frosted now? So the clear embossing powder has got itself stuck to the wet ink that you just laid down on your card. So now I'm going to use my heat tool, and I'll quiet the video while I do that. So you can see that that has been embossed, and so you really can emboss any color you want. You can have embossing in any ink color that we have. Now I'm going to use my punch here, and I am going to punch that so that it's as close to right in the middle and straight as I can get it. And then what I'm going to do is use my snips here, and I'm going to trim down this, and I'm going to take out this outer piece here on this label. And end up with a sentiment, and you can see just how much I cut off there. Not a lot, but then I get this kind of a look, and I can put that on my card. So let's see, I am going to just put a couple of dimensionals on the back of that, and those are the full-size ones. That into place on my card. Okay, the other thing that I did on this one, and I'm not going to take the time to do it while we're on video today, but what I did was I ran the edge of this card through the embossing folder so that we get an imprint of that same embossing folder on the inside. Now you could add a few sequins if you wanted to dress that up a little bit. But this card is just about all ready to go now. So all that is left is to add a few pieces of sequins and things on our card here. I'm going to just lay them down here. And so I've got an assortment of copper and gold sequins here to embellish my card. And I'm just going to use a little bit of Tombow to dot down a little bit of glue in a couple places on the card Let me do those outer ones first. They come in all different sizes, so it's kind of fun to put some different sized ones down. I'm going to put one of the copper sequins with the gold underneath it because that's the way it came off. So there, I've got that. Now I'm also going to dot a few of these around on my DSP panel here. And there we have our card. Just as simple as that. Now this is a very easy card, a simple project, and yet again, I think it's just beautiful. The idea of using the DSP, a folder, a little bit of ribbon to do all of the heavy lifting, and then we have this extra added, really pretty, bright, sparkly, embossed piece on here, I think is just very, very pretty. A simple card to do, very easy, and one in my series that I call Fast and Beautiful. And on the inside, just running the panel through the embossing folder. And let's see, I had a couple of extra sequins here. Maybe I could put an extra sequin or two down on the inside of this to sort of dress it up a little bit. And see if I can do that. And that just leaves this being a very special, very pretty card, and one that anybody would be proud to get. So thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do appreciate it. And after this, we'll get back to starting on Sunday, making cards out of the new catalog and showing some of the things that are available. We've got some beautiful papers and some wonderful stamp sets, so lots of new stuff to play with, which is great fun. So thanks again for stopping by. The winner of the prize draw of the Stampin' Blends for the month of November was Sharon Slaughter. Thank you and congratulations, Sharon. I talked to her the other day and she's picking out her colors. And I'll get that off in the mail to Sharon as soon as possible. Now the prize draw for the month of December is the Hold On to Hope bundle out of the new catalog. And because it's that, I can't exactly show it to you. But it is an absolutely stunningly beautiful stamp set and set of dies that was created by Brandy Cox, who is one of the new $1 million sellers in Stampin' Up. And if you've never watched her channel, she does wonderful, wonderful work, Brandy Cox. And she, as the result of that, got to be involved in creating a stamp set. And like Patty Bennett's last year, Patty Bennett's was the breast cancer ribbon loop, and Brandy's is something called Hold On to Hope, and the dies in this are stunning. There's some crosses done in relief, and they're just beautiful. And as much as I hate to say it out loud, we need a few more sympathy cards these days than we have in the past. At least I certainly find myself reaching for them more often than not. And these will make beautiful, both hopeful and sympathy kinds of cards. And so that is the prize draw for December. So, and if you don't have a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. Give me a call. My telephone number and the details are listed below the video every time, and I'd love to chat with you about it. So I'll be back soon with more projects and more cards. Bye.